We start with some news coming out this week about the potential now of more Friday night games involving Big Ten teams, maybe even conference games. But Jim Delaney kind of quashed that a little today, Gerry. He says he doesn't think that's going to happen before his tenure is up as commissioner, and that's 2018.
Yeah, so I'm not sure, how strong the opinion is when Jim Delaney says it's probably not going to happen while he's commissioner.
Probably not going to happen.
But if it ever does happen, I would like to see big time conference games Friday night. Michigan State's already played Friday night game. Indiana played a Thursday night game a couple of years ago. I think those are okay, but I think if you're going to play a Friday night game, playing a big time conference game where the rest of the country is captivated by the great stadiums in the Big Ten, by two great teams, if they're going to do it Friday night, I'd like to see them do it in that way.
Gerry, that's how it initially started. You think about the National Football League with Monday Night Football. It became really a household name, and everybody watched it. And then when we were in college football, when we started to do those Thursday night games initially, they were pretty good matchups. And, you weren't on TV all the time, so you seized that opportunity to get exposure. And then all of a sudden they start getting diluted. But if we're going to play Friday nights or add nights to it, we need meaningful games.
Yeah, I agree. Why do we watch Thursday night games? Early in the season, a lot of times it's the SEC games, and they're pretty big-time games. And so, again, if Big Ten's going to play weekday games, I'd like to see them be some of the big-time conference games.
Well, and the truth of the matter is we see Tuesday games now and Wednesday games with some of the smaller non-BCS conferences. And the honesty is that unless you're a fan of those specific teams, you're probably not going to watch. The ratings for those games are not very good. And, Gerry, I know you've been on the bandwagon, not just Friday night games, but big-time Big Ten games to move them earlier in the season to start excitement, like the SEC's been doing as of late, to kind of jumpstart the season. This seems like if you are going to do it, don't just put the toe in the water. Go and cannonball off the diving board.
One of the reasons Florida State had the inside track in getting into the national championship game, obviously they were undefeated, so they didn't need this, but they beat a Clemson team early in September, and the rest of the country watched it. And so that was your impression of Florida State, right, wrong, or indifferent. It was a Clemson team that wasn't as good at the end of the season as it was in the beginning of the season.
Ohio State disagrees, by the way.
Yeah, I understand. But what Big Ten games was the nation watching in September?
Well, and who did Florida State really beat after that game anyway?
But it didn't matter.
No.
You made your point.
To Jerry's point, perception is more important than fact. The world saw them against Clemson and said, wow, these are really two good teams, and Florida State is really, really good.
And so play some, let's even get off Friday night if you want. Play some big-time East-West games as we go forward. Play Penn State, Nebraska at night in September. The whole country watches it instead of some of these other games that we're playing in September.
You talk about Friday night games. My other concern, you mentioned it, Rick, some of these games that are played on Thursday night, the ratings aren't very good. The stands are empty. And you think about even the Big Ten Conference, how much stress are we going to put on our fans? All of a sudden, if you say, hey, we're going to play a Friday night game that you really want to see, and people come far and wide to fill these 100,000-seat stadiums up, I'm not sure they'd be a favorite.
Friday off of work for some people. The other issue that's long been an issue when talking about Friday night collegiate games is the high school factor. Because in a lot of these places where Big Ten schools are located, high school football on Friday night is, and for a very long time has been, king. You could make the argument that has diminished a little bit in terms of what would be outrage to play college football on Friday nights. But I still think in places like Ohio and places like Western Pennsylvania, Friday night has long been reserved for high school football only.
Yeah, I don't think it's significant enough to stop the universities from playing Friday night games because it's not going to happen every Friday night. And I just don't think it's going to hurt high school attendance all that much. It'll be interesting to see, I know you feel strongly, Mace, if the high school associations would stand up and kick back.
I went through that, to Rick's point. When I was at the University of Kansas, and it was not our home game, we were playing somebody, and they're going to play Friday night, and I guess the athletic agreed to it because it was going to be more money. It was going to be TV or something. And all of a sudden, I received letters from the Texas High School Athletic Association, Football Association, and the Florida saying, if you play this game, you are no longer welcome in our state to recruit. You don't think that didn't get my attention? and had to go to bat and say, we can't play this game.
Well, it's kind of like the college and the pro now, right? Didn't college football start on Thursday night?
Yeah.
Or Thursday night was a college football night. Now the NFL's in it. So do the colleges have a right to push back against the NFL and saying Thursday night's our night?
It's like the verbal commitment. It's a gentleman's agreement,
Right.
Jerry. You know, that's how it goes.